Hey, it's Damon, the drone boss, and we're here with another drone cast, and we have Walt Everett here with Got Drone Aerial Photography, and we've got a treat. Thank you for stopping by.
Well, thanks for having me. This is great.
Now, you do all kinds of stuff with drones. You've been doing drones and everything with drones for a long time, so I know you do, like you call it, the artsy-fartsy stuff, all the cinematography and videography. You also do a lot of real estate. A lot of inspection stuff. You know, cell towers and power lines and all that. And construction is where you spend the majority of your attention and time.
It is now, yes, the construction progression, following the projects from the dirt to the finished project.
So what are if you could explain to everybody, what are some of the benefits that the construction companies get from having, all this data?
Oh, well, first of all, it makes them look good because they can go to their investors and their bankers and show them the progress and show them how things are looking on the sites. But it also helps them with the insurance companies and the OSHA people because it shows that they're doing what they're supposed to do. And
hold on there. So let's back up and unpack some of these. So first off, the banks, that's a big deal because they can show the banks with empirical data that we're at this percentage of completion, so they get their draws, and they don't have to hold up funding.
Yeah, and the banker doesn't have to send somebody out to look. The construction company sends them my video and says, "Look," and it's dated. It's got the date on it. This is what's been done. This is the materials we have on site. This is how far along we are.
That's a huge deal because oftentimes to get the bank inspectors to come out takes several days, and it can slow down progress and draws
and getting the money coming in.
Yeah,
sure does. Because it's a lot easier for me to run out there and do it than it is to wait on the guy.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
So that's a big help. And
the investors was the second thing, which is that's a huge deal because I know a lot of construction sites they'll have at certain points as they get the building done, they'll have the investors or the board members fly out. So you've got all the expense of flying, hotels, food, that whole thing. And these people are busy people, and now they've got to take 2 or 3 days out of their life to go trudge around this muddy.
Not anymore. We send them the video, and it's very simple to get to great video, get it edited really nice, really fast, and send it to them, and boom, it's done. And it just takes a lot of the weight off those people because they don't have to travel. They don't have to do. And they just open it up and watch a good quality video real quick.
It's fantastic because now you're making it easier for the construction company as far as profitability wise because now they don't have all that added expense of flying them out there. These investors are probably more prone to invest in future projects with companies that are using this type of technology.
Yeah, because it's less work for them, and they're getting the same results a lot faster and easier.
Yeah,
and faster and easier is the same thing as making money.
Yeah, that's what it boils down to. And in OSHA, so the OSHA thing, and there's another sideline of that with inventory. They can track inventory and stuff probably better because now if you're flying it every week or every month, you know exactly what inventory is there or not there.
That's right. And if there's ever an OSHA problem, the videos show that the company's been compliant, that everybody's wearing their safety gear, and if some God forbid something does happen, they can easily prove that they've been on top of it and proactive. And sometimes accidents happen and there's just nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
But if you've got a good background and documentation that you're covering all the bases, it really helps.
Yeah, and also it gives them another tool to make sure that all their workers and team are compliant because it's another checkpoint when they're not there necessarily all the time.
Exactly, and it helps. And it shows everybody, the workers and the investors and the bankers and the insurance company, that the site is safe. That the workplace is safe and the people are safe, and everybody's going to be okay at the end of the day.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. And then what other so do you have any examples of some clients that you've worked with that, whether it's on the inspection side, cell towers or on the construction side where it's your services have introduced efficiencies, made them money, sped up their project, which is more money to them.
Yeah, well, I worked for a company for a couple of years doing cell phone tower inspections. And the best part about doing a drone cell phone tower inspection is nobody's got to climb the tower.
Yeah.
And those towers are, a couple hundred feet tall sometimes. Sometimes they're just on top of a roof on a building. And I've done both towers and buildings. But, anytime you expose people to that danger that you can eliminate, exposing people to that danger is a great thing because, we've had people get killed just climbing up to look at the tower, and there again, things happen. But if you can eliminate a 3-man crew having to go out and 2 guys climb the tower and look at everything in detail, and then a safety guy on the ground, and as opposed to one guy with a drone coming out and flying, and it's it takes a couple hours, but that's a whole lot cheaper and easier than sending a 2-man crew to climb that tower.
Yeah.
And it just in the world of safety there's just no comparison.
Yeah, that's true. I was reading a report last year there were over 300 fatalities on inspection crews, and this is bridges and dams and power lines and radio towers and cell towers and all combined.
Oh yeah,
and the report said that 82% of those they were doing a routine inspection, looking.
Yeah, just looking. Just looking.
That a drone could have easily done.
Oh yeah, because I can take my drone up and if this is a tower, I can get right there on the tower and go around, take a couple of hundred really detailed close up pictures, and now they're going to spend the time looking at the pictures, but spending the time sitting at a desk looking at the pictures is a whole lot better than spending the time climbing around the tower looking at and taking pictures.
Yeah,
because the guys inspecting are taking pictures too.
Yeah, well, and that's probably and a huge difference in the quality of pictures too that you're getting. And the ability you have with the software to stitch it and identify, anomalies and and with the progression.
With the drone, you can take the pictures and turn it into a 3D model. You've got really close-up pictures from angles that you can't get from being on the tower.
That's a great point, yeah.
And, it's you see everything, get done, and be safe because my feet never leave the ground.
Yep.
And that's a good way to inspect a cell phone tower.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. And one of the other advantages is with you doing progression documentation, now they're seeing it every week or month or quarter, however often they've contracted you to inspect it. So now they can see if there's corrosion or erosion or if there's any rust or if there's, stress cracks and how those are progressing over time, because every single picture you take is from a particular GPS triangulated coordination. So it's and no human being could climb up on the tower and take the exact pictures from the exact angle at the exact placement, but the computers, the AI in the sky can do it.
But the drone can.
Yeah.
And does very well. And that works not just for inspecting, but just for the overall, another aspect on a different line of the same thing. On these construction sites, we take these pictures and taking the exact same picture every time, putting them in a slideshow. And then the customer can put them on their wall board there and have the slideshow of construction progression. And a lot of customers really like that because it's just nothing. First picture, second picture, and as it just builds along. You've seen time lapse videos of things being built. And they're really cool.
And that's a huge marketing piece to a lot of them when they're going out and pitching their next project.
Yeah.
And not only without them even going into detail of all of the technological advancements and integrations in the AI they're using, their prospective clients or investors are seeing it and they're like, subliminally it just plants the seed that, wow, these guys are. I've been pitched other construction projects and I've never seen technology like this.
Yeah. So a picture's worth 1,000 words. So get that slideshow of that building going up, from the dirt all the way up, and I do that for developers, land developers too.
Yeah.
And go in and take the pictures of, before they even break ground. And then as they progress through, digging the ditches and putting in the sewers and cutting in the roads and all that kind of stuff to, the houses starting to pop up all the way up to the finished project. It's they really like that.
Yeah, and having that documentation is really invaluable.
Oh yeah,
that's awesome. So, well, what's the where do you think this industry is going and the benefits for people that are out there, for companies?
Well, I hate to sound cliche, but the sky's the limit. It's there are so many different things you can do with one of these little guys, and you don't have to stick to the little ones. You get the big ones too, but there are. I mean, there's the FAA says there's over 300 verticals already.
Yeah,
and it's just every day something new's coming up. Every day somebody else has an idea, and that idea just snowballs, and the next thing you know, there's a whole new vertical, and it's just people are gonna be able to use these things to do just unimaginable things in the next few years. I mean, you just can't even comprehend what they're doing now.
Yeah.
Give it a couple years.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, these are literally AI in the sky.
Yeah.
And the reality is the adoption rate is really so, like on power line inspections or cell tower inspections on the inspection side, it's less than 1%.
Yeah.
Of drones are being implemented in that, which just blows my mind with all the fatalities and injuries, that are happening, paralyzations and amputations and all that stuff.
And not to mention some of the places that have to be shut down to be inspected.
Yeah.
For a human to come in and inspect them. With the drone, you don't have that problem.
Yeah, and that's
plant or factory or whatever just purrs right along. And that's making money too, because you shut something down like that costs big bucks.
Yeah. Some of these bigger factories, I mean, you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars a minute.
Yeah.
To shut that down. So then that really brings value, which again blows my mind that companies haven't adopted this stuff yet. But again, we're really in the infancy. I know for you and I, we've been flying drones for what? How long have you been flying?
Well, I started fixed-wing drones in 1975.
Okay.
And
so 1 year before me, I was 76.
Well, I'm a lot older than you are, at least a day. So yeah, it's been a wonderful ride.
Yeah, and the technology, I think we're both seeing this massive, like from the 70s to the 80s, there was a little bit of progress, and the 80s to 90s, a little more, and then but then it's really around 2010, we started seeing, some more rapid advancements. 2015, it really started accelerating.
Yep.
And now, especially with the advent of AI and the introduction, these things are really going quick.
Because every day there's something new.
Yeah.
There are people out there fishing with drones now. They're carrying their fishing bait out, and there's life-saving people carrying life-saving devices out.
Defibrillators.
Defibrillators. There's the people in Africa can get supplies, medical supplies and stuff from point A to point B in 10 minutes instead of 6 hours, driving through the bush, and it's just incredible. And then there's the just taking pictures of the pretty stuff.
Yeah.
And I like to do that just as much as taking pictures of construction progression, but I do a lot of just landscapes and I carry my drone with me everywhere I go because I never know what I'm going to see, and I can't tell you the number of times I've stopped on the side of the interstate and got out and set the drone up and went and took a picture of something and come back, got in the truck and went on.
That's awesome.
Because you never know. I mean, because with the drone, anybody driving down the road can stop and take a picture. Or you can go somewhere and stop and take a picture. But till you get one of these guys up in the air a little bit, you get 15 feet in the air, it's a whole different perspective. Yeah. And of course there's some places you can't get to without a drone.
Yeah.
And I was driving down the road one day, down the interstate, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw an old abandoned rock quarry. So I stopped and I got out my little FPV drone and I flew around the rock quarry for a few minutes and I got back in the truck and went on. So you never know. It's there's so many beautiful things and places out there. It's just incredible. And the drone, it's a camera in the sky. Yes, it's a camera in the sky, but with the AI and just incredible. You can get some incredible pictures.
Yeah.
And I love doing those.
Yeah, it's definitely rewarding. Now, I know one thing people are concerned with, there's been a lot of stuff in the news of the legalities of flying, airspace and all that stuff. I know you're up to date on all that. So, what are some of the, I know you're federally licensed to fly, you're insured, you're certified. What are some things that you would kind of caution people, like if there was a construction, someone owned a construction company and one of their workers has a drone in their truck. They're not licensed, but if they do it after hours, type of thing.
Oh yeah, let's just come in after hours. No, please don't. Okay, it's the FAA really regulates the whole thing, and that's not just so the government can make money. That's to keep everybody safe. As a licensed drone pilot, I am up on all the regulations, like you say. I've got the good insurance. I've been well trained. I mean, Drone Boss, it all starts right there. But a lot of people. I mean, there are millions of these things running around the country now, but there are millions of people that don't know what they're doing, and they're just getting out there and they don't really know any better, so they're putting themselves or other people in danger by not knowing what they're doing and not being careful. It's like that guy that flew that drone and hit that airplane in California.
Yeah, the beginning of 2025. That that was
firefighting.
Yeah,
airplane,
the Super Scooper.
Yeah,
the Super
knocked
Scooper.
that thing out. Did not knocked it out of the air, but put it out of commission for a couple of days.
Right, and that's a key point when it was needed most. Right, like they only had two of them. There were only two on loan from Canada.
Yeah, and one of them was down for about a week over somebody flying beyond where you could see it because legally I have to be able to see the drone. Right. When I'm flying, I actually have to be able to see it, and that's the number one thing. You got to be able to see it, and you can't fly above 400 feet. And, of course, this guy was less than 400 feet, and you think, the airplanes are higher. But no.
There was a TFR.
No. Yeah.
Right? Temporary flight restriction because of the fires and the emergency planes.
All these millions of people that have these drones that don't know these things, don't know anything, don't even know what a TFR is.
Right.
A what?
Yeah.
A temporary flight restriction imposed by the FAA to, for safety. I fly my drone around downtown Nashville, Tennessee, a lot. I don't have any problems because I stay within the within the required envelope. I avoid crowds. Of course, you don't want to fly over people at all, and a lot of these amateurs are doing that. I try to avoid people like the plague, but it's when you're licensed. When you're trained properly and licensed, it's you're a lot more aware of everything that's going on, as opposed to somebody who just went down to Best Buy or whatever and bought a drone and now, I'm a drone pilot and I'm flying around. It's like flying around neighborhoods. I don't just go in and just zoom around neighborhoods and stuff. But when I do a real estate, I do real estate pictures for a realtor. I will go into a neighborhood and take pictures, but I'm not lingering around and I'm not right up against a house. I'm up and back and out of the way and it's,
respectful.
Try to be respectful of other people's properties. You don't get right up on the house. You stay back 50, 60 feet and up about as high as the roof and looking. But I've had a lot of people come up to me and say, "Wow, that's really cool." And then I've had a couple come up and say, "What are you doing? That's illegal." Well, it's not really illegal, but it can be depending on how you're doing it. And so there again, it comes back to the training and the education of being licensed and knowing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And except for a few people that complain about it, everybody's always happy. They like it. And usually when somebody comes up and talks to me like that in the neighborhood, I'll say, "Hey, if you give me a minute, I'll take a couple pictures of your house for you." And that works pretty well with people that are happy and the ones that are mad.
Right. Yeah.
It especially helps the ones that are mad, and they're not really mad. They're just uneducated. But if you got to be respectful, and you got to play by the rules.
Yeah, I think that's one thing people don't understand. This is a highly regulated industry,
Very regulated,
and we're flying aircraft in national airspace. And
Yes.
that's a massive privilege, but it's also a huge responsibility because
right.
we share the airspace with manned aircraft. And if something goes wrong, it's on us.
Yes, and I'm not going to do it.
No, yeah,
I have, like when I'm in downtown Nashville, you can fly up. We're only allowed to fly 400 feet. I've never flown on a big tall building. 5 stories is the highest building I've ever photographed. But even at 5 stories, and even when I'm 100 feet above a 5-story building, I'm still well below the aircraft that are flying. And I have yet to be downtown Nashville flying and not have helicopters fly by. And of course, you even get some airplanes fly around Nashville. But it's it's everybody. There again, licensing, training, education. I know my place. They know their place. There is no mixing.
Yep. And stick to it.
And so it's a great thing.
Awesome. Now, what areas do you service?
As in geographical areas?
Geographically, yeah.
Oh, anywhere, Middle Tennessee. No. Tennessee, Kentucky, Alabama, Georgia. A big circle.
Okay.
Anywhere I can get within 3 or 4 hours driving time.
Okay.
From Nashville. So.
Okay. And then I know you're open to other projects. You've done stuff down in Florida. And I've done drone work in 14 states. Okay.
And now that I've been to Utah, I've flown in Utah, so I've flown in 15 states. So,
Awesome.
Well, I got paid to fly in 14 states. Let's put it that way. So I've flown in a lot more places, but it's great. Yeah, if somebody the company I work for doing cell phone towers, they'd call up and say, "Hey, we need you to go to New York." Okay, I'm gone. Hey, we need you to go to Oklahoma. Okay, I'm gone. I'm just wherever.
Right.
And then went down to Fort Myers to do hurricane damage surveys. Yes, let's get the words in the right order. And so sometimes it's, wherever you want me to go. It's around Middle Tennessee right now, but I will go just about anywhere. Because I love to travel, and it's fun to pack up and go somewhere, see the country, and you
get to help people out. You're helping
people out,
helping companies, saving lives, helping them make more money.
Yep. Yeah, because they're making money, they're saving money,
right? Which makes money,
which is the same thing as making money. Yeah, and I'm having a great time because I love to travel and see the world, and there again, you get out some of these places like I was out in the middle of nowhere, Oklahoma, and there's all these big wind turbines. Now I wasn't there to take pictures of wind turbines, but you bet I stopped and took some pictures of the wind turbine out there. I mean, it is literally middle of nowhere. And the same thing with old bridges, old railroad bridges. I got a thing for bridges, so I will stop. If I see an old bridge, I will stop and take pictures of that. Or if I'm just driving along and it doesn't matter. Some people tell me I have an eye for photography, and I got my first camera a long time ago, and been taking pictures for a long time, and then the drones came along, and it just. Oh, that's just a whole nother world. It's so much better. But I see something. I see things that just you got to stop and take a picture, and I do. And it's worked out pretty well for me.
That's awesome. Awesome. Well, thanks for stopping by. And how can people get in touch with you? So if there are construction companies that want to implement some safety stuff, they want to attract more investors for future projects, they want to save money, i.e. make money, or they want to make more money, become more efficient. How can they get in touch with you so you can help them out?
Well, my website is Got Drones, just gotdrones.com. That's me. You can look me up there. My email is walter@gotdrones.com.
Awesome.
And just give me a call. My phone number is 615-767-8714. If I don't answer you, that's because I'm out flying somewhere or we're trying to get some pictures uploaded for a current customer. But I'll get back to you. We'll take you some great pictures and have a good time doing it.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's give it up for Walt here. And until next time, you guys take care and fly safe.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.